Hello everybody, it's your girl Connie Kenneth and welcome back to my channel. So thank you so much guys for all the likes, the comments, the shares, and the family is growing. So if you're new here, welcome. If you have just discovered my channel, my name is Connie Kenneth and please make sure you subscribe. And this is the best reaction channel on YouTube right now. So join the gang and let's discover and learn about Africa and the African history. And so today, more so because we're going to react to Teo AINA'S video. So he's a Nigerian YouTuber, and he recently posted this video, the shocking truth about Nigeria's slave trade history. And so we're going to discover it together, and let's react to this one because I think most of us know more about the slave history in Senegal, but not necessarily in Nigeria, which is my case. And so I'm ready to learn, and I think it's important for us to learn about our history so we can build a better future, by Africans for Africans. So let's go straight into this one. So the name of the place is Bagadari. What's that? Badagry. Okay. Coastal side. Okay. Welcome to the Mobile Royal Family Original Slave Relics Museum, Badagry. Okay, wow. This is a very painful part of the African history, but it's important to know these facts because they are facts and being told the way they are. I've seen chains, so I'm sure we're going to go through all of that in this video. And yeah, it's important for us to embrace that part of our history so we can build a stronger and one Africa.
Guys, this is heavy, man. And this is what they wear on their neck. All true.
And the reason being, if I remember well, is when they were put into the boats, if you decide to jump into the water, you drown, you die. So it was so inhuman. Horrible.
When I was young, I used to hear stories about how foreign ships used to come down to the coast of Nigeria and take a lot of us away as slaves, like in millions, to go and work for them overseas under very inhumane conditions. Off the coast of Lagos is a place called Badagry, and this place holds a significant history in the slave trade era. So I want you guys to come along with me, and let's see what happens in Badagry.
So, which makes sense for it to be next to the coastal side, because when the boats came in, the ships, it had to be next to the coastal side, and it's the same thing in Senegal and other parts in Africa where there was a huge what do you say, slave trade was very huge, so it had to be a strategic place, and that was most times next to the ocean, to the sea, whatever.
I have long legs. Badagry is a place where many slaves were kept, and it's also a place that tells the story of how the slave trade started. It was one of the major routes for the transatlantic slave trade. I don't really know a lot about the slave trade, so I decided to go down here and meet up with somebody whose grandparents were alive during the era of the slave trade to tell me the story about how slave trade started in Nigeria. How far now? How are you doing? Yeah. The compound that we are is known.
So I believe it's very important when you have when history, people who actually know very well the history, and this history was not just written in books or someone told me, and so and then it just becomes deformed and stuff. So this is someone whose whose parents or grandparents actually was there that period, and so he got to experience all those things, and maybe he was a child, but yeah, so that's a very important detail in this video, and I feel we should really cherish such knowledge, teach it as it is, for this guy to get another guide and the younger generation and teach them the history of this specific place. it's important, so in turn they can tell the future generations.
As Brazilian barracoon. And barracoon is a Portuguese word meaning slave cell.
So a barracoon, so an augmentative for what? Of barracks used historically for the internment of slaves or criminals. A barracoon, okay, by the Portuguese.
Or storehouse, where the slave were being stored. And the compound right now, we have to talk about 40 rooms in this compound.
Okay, so this is where they kept slaves?
Yes, in the olden days. And that is say each room contained 40 slaves. So this is called cowrie shell.
Okay.
So those are the kind of currency our forefathers used then.
Now this is what they used to use as a means of exchange.
Yes, but when they came, them say they can do business with our forefathers with this kind of money. Right on the wall, these were some of the European products that were used in exchange for the slave when they arrived. Like if the European give you one umbrella, you give them 40.
Wait a minute, are you kidding me? So an umbrella in exchange of 40 slaves? So the trade was taking place between Africans, so let's say Nigerians in this case, and the colonizers. So the colonizers would bring an umbrella, and in turn they would get 40 slaves. Wait a minute. Let's listen to that again, because that's what I think I heard. And I hope I'm wrong, because this would be crazy. This would be hard. It's actually heartbreaking too. I mean, an umbrella has more value than a human life. Make it make sense. Let me just listen to that again. Let's listen.
On the wall, these were some of the European products that were used in exchange for the slave when they arrived. Like if the European give you one umbrella, you give them 40 human beings as a slave.
Is this one of the rooms that
this is
40 people?
Yes,
40 people inside here?
Yeah.
So you can imagine no privacy, diseases, hunger. People would probably die of thirst. The pregnant women, everybody's stuck up in one small room. That's crazy. Crazy. Just worse than animals. Let's say things the way they are, you know?
And we have 40 rooms in the compound.
Wow.
This one is called confined yoke. They use it to join two slaves together. The bodies at the ankle or the body.
Okay, to join two slaves together by the legs.
Now look at that small window tile. Can you see that small window there? And that's what we provided the ventilation. Imagine 40 able human beings in there for 3 to 4 months.
40 human beings inside here.
Imagine the odor, the heat. Imagine how many human beings because they will have died here. That's the reason when people come there telling you are not here to cash fund, but just to feel the pain the people at the bazaar felt. And those are the items that I show you on the wall. Each go for 10 pence. These are 50 human beings. Look at your back there. This bottle, if you look closely at the body, you see 1873. Being customized on the body.
Yeah,
it's 10 human beings standing so.
Guys, can you imagine the conditions that the slaves had to live in? 40 people in a room that is not even enough for one person. 40 people had to stay inside that room. I can't even begin to imagine how most of them would have felt.
So these are the canon.
Okay.
You know, just thinking about how families were separated from each other. They never got to meet after that because they was probably sold to different families in different parts of the world and so on. And it was, when you think about it, you're like, wow, our ancestors had to go through some horrible things, and that's why we should embrace our history. I feel that's why it's important to learn this fact and teach this fact in school, so people can, just know where all the protests are coming from and where, because the wound is still open, and probably it's one of the first steps towards healing the wound, and so people can move forward and for a better, better future, I would say, in society as a whole. So it's terrible.
100, that's 200 slaves.
For this canon,
these are the canon.
Okay.
100, that's 200 slaves.
For this canon,
you can't give you the long one, you give the 100 human being another 100. That's
wow. These are the chairs they use for the slaves.
You can see, that's why I say you can see how.
Oh.
How do you want to
so put it, let me try it.
Okay. So just tell the people how you feel.
Wow, this is heavy, man. Fuck, this is heavy. Ouch! It's even drawing.
They didn't stand a chance to survive if they decide to flee and jump. They would just drown.
Have you?
Guys, this is heavy, man. And this is what they wear on their neck. All true.
Yes, it should be in a single file. In a straight one. This is another neck. It could have been like 100 of them.
Wow, man, guys, this is very heavy. And they wear this all day, every time.
Yeah, while they're taking them away.
And it's even, this thing at the back is so not comfortable.
And that's their drinking pot here.
Oh, this is where they drink from.
They don't allow them to use cup, but it's almost they tie the hand at the back. They do water this way.
Wow.
So
Everybody goes
yeah,
in.
imagine why the water gets below, while struggling, the earth can still injure the slave.
Wow.
So,
Just putting the chain on my neck, those chains were so heavy and it was hurting my neck, as you can see in the video. And these people had to go through all of this and they had no choice. Separated from their families, separated from everybody that they knew, and sold. You can imagine how these people were treated. So now we're going to the point of no return. And first,
Yeah, and so just before we get to the point of no return, I don't know if it's the same thing as in Senegal, because in Senegal you had the men in a different room, and the women and children in a different room, and so they were separated from the word go, And so I don't know if it was the same thing in Nigeria, but it must have been. But just imagining your wife and children are in a different room, or your husband, and you will never see them again. It must have been so painful and under those conditions, and you didn't do any wrong to anybody, and then you go to the point of no return. I think it just speaks for itself, like no return. You will never see your motherland ever again, and if you survive the journey and what happens to the family where you are in, and all the mistreatment and this and that, and so it was terrible.
so that we have to cross over this lagoon here and get to the other side. That's where we see the point of no return. Point of no return is a point where once slaves get to, they can't come back anymore.
Right.
Badagry was founded around 1425
Okay.
by a man called Agbede.
Agbede. Okay.
Yeah. And Agbede means blacks meat in Yorubas. The slave ship, which is called cargo ship,
Okay.
will be awaiting the slave
On the other side.
at the other side of the
That's
bridge.
at the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. They will come in, get to the town, get the number of slaves that they want.
Okay.
After getting the slaves, they will now walk there in a single file.
Down to the beach.
They'll be in a straight road,
Wow.
and that heavy chain will be on their necks.
Most times when they talk about the slave trade,
Okay.
it's always looking like, okay, it's just only the Europeans that were selling slaves. But it kind of seems like we Nigerians were also selling ourselves as slaves.
Very, very correct. Like me, that I'm standing with you.
Yeah.
My forefathers were not slave traders, but we own slaves.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
You understand? How do we own?
And that's a very important point, because there are some people, for them to get slaves, in the different countries, they had some associates, who are Africans, and who in turn got the umbrella, got the cannon, got something from the West, and it was a business for them, and also in the different parts of Africa, you had Africans who had slaves as well. So, and that's what he's saying with his forefathers. So it doesn't only come from the West, but also in Africa, this kind of, the slave trade actually existed and was practiced in Africa.
Owns our slave. If you have the money, then you can move down to the market and buy your slaves.
Okay.
In the market, you buy slaves.
Wow. So they used to sell slaves like food.
Something
Like
that.
going to Mr.
You
Biggs.
see, this is what really happened. It's of two sides of it.
Okay.
In some part of Congo, even a part of Nigeria, there's some places that they invaded
Okay.
and they took the people away forcefully as a slave.
Okay.
But in some part of it, there's some part whereby the Africans, locals or the chiefs, the warrior, they are also their facilitator. They sell their own people. Because when they came, okay, they, we fought war then.
Okay.
Man you want to dominate your domain, your kingdom.
Okay.
You understand? That ego is within us. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So, like now, if your village and my village had a fight,
Yeah.
eventually, if you won the fight, you take the people away,
Right.
as a slave to your own town.
To your own town,
And
just like
working here, you understand?
Just
And
like you do in war. And
war,
yeah.
the victim of war, you understand?
Yeah.
So they will be working for you.
Yeah.
But when the Europeans came, they met the trade on ground.
Oh, they met the slave trade. So the slave trade was already happening when they came.
Before they arrived here.
Wow.
So they met the trade on ground.
Okay.
We been enslaving ourselves before they arrive Africa. We
Listen to that.
Wow.
So they met the trade on ground.
Okay.
We been enslaving ourselves before they arrive Africa. We betrayed ourselves, which is still happening.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Let's have a discussion in the comment section below. Do you think we as Africans betrayed ourselves? We betrayed our brothers and sisters by having slaves before the Westerners arrived, before the colonizers arrived and found the business booming already in Africa? Let me know.
Up to date.
Yeah. That's where I'm going to with this. Yeah.
So if you check record, go and check record, or quote me.
Yeah.
Most of the slave facilitators, their children were the ones still ruling in Africa up to date. Yeah. So you see the same system going on up till date. The blames are on both sides. The European and the African. Facilitators. You understand?
Yeah.
As a child, when I was growing up, the story my own forefather, my grandfather, my father used to tell me then about who we are on the surface of earth. I realized that we are very, very powerful. We can disappear. You can tell the gun to open, it will open.
That's Africans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How comes the European comes around and force
us to do what we didn't want to do, yeah?
Later, I now realize that we sold
ourselves
into slavery. They know that we are very, very powerful. They know who we are. You understand?
But it seems we don't know we are. We don't know the power that we have.
No.
We know that we are very powerful. Out of 12 disciples, there will always be a Judas. You understand? Somebody must betray one person. You understand? Slaves.
And that's why we should come together. The Pan-Africanism should not be just a word, this beautiful word, but it should actually, come into action. So, we as Africans, we are a strong people. We God-fearing, hardworking, and so on. So I feel that if we came together as a people, we can move mountains. And this is something that I strongly believe that it's possible. But yeah, a step at a time, but we can get there.
Great at a nation
well.
Let's say the water. To buttress. Now, who dug this well? That's the question. This well was dug by the African chiefs. Why do they have to dug the well? Good. Now, the movement of Africa.
So, what was the name of the journey of slaves from Africa to America? It was called the Middle Passage. So, which was a stage of the Atlantic slave trade in which millions of enslaved Africans were forcibly transported to the Americas as part of the triangular slave trade. Okay, all right.
Africans to America through that. It's known as Middle Passage. They call it Middle Passage. And the name of the slave ship is called cargo ship, which could take like 600, 700.
Look at those conditions. Look at that.
It's called cargo ship.
Look at that. Stuck inside there, butt naked, cold, hungry, probably sick, and my goodness, wow.
Which could take like 600, 700. It was the Portuguese that started the trade.
Yeah.
Most of the slaves moved from Africa then, they stood into Lisbon.
Okay.
Lisbon is a very big slave market in Portugal then.
Yeah.
Where everybody get their slave. Then later, along that, the English joined. And the name of the first slave ship is being Jesus of Lubeck, or Good Ship Jesus, owned by King Henry VIII of England then. But later, Queen Elizabeth rented it out to one of the slave party called John Hawkins. And they started taking Africans away as a slave to work for them. And most of the town in America, even though the White House was built by
black people.
Now, on the slave ship, we could have like 600, 7, 3, 200. It depends the size of the slave ship. And the crew that were taking the slave away, they are no more than probably 25 to 30 people. They were taking like 600 or 300 slaves away. So most often, why taking it away? If the slaves supported the land and it's aggravated, you understand, or they have any opportunity, They'll kill all the crew on board. They will not add the sailor to sail down to any available land. They will not occupy. The only person they will not kill them is the sailor. They will ask the sailor to sail back to any available. I think that's what happened in Guadeloupe and some part, most of the Caribbean.
Okay. Haiti, all those places, yeah.
So now the African chiefs came up with idea. What can they do so that the slave will be less aggressive? That's where they have to do the work. And once the slave walk in a single file without heavy chain, the stopover will be here. They will give them the water to drink. When they consume the water, we are told that they will lose their memory.
Wow, it will wipe their memory?
But it's not for life, for 3 to 4 months. It will weaken them, not really that you wipe, when we wipe their memory. Why do you take them as they wipe? You know they can't do anything.
Wow.
So it will weaken them for 3 to 4 months. By then they will have sailed down to Europe or America. They will now regain their strength or memories back.
Wow.
God might call it slave accumulation, some call it memory loss. But ironically, some say the water is still effective. Some say it's not effective.
So if I drink this water now, I'll forget my memory for the next 4 months.
So 4 months to 3, 4 months.
Wow. So do you think was it like a way of brainwashing them into believing that, the placebo effect, they were brainwashed to believe that if you drink this water, you'll forget your past. And because, Africans, we have this strong anchored beliefs, and they probably believed so, and they started forgetting as a placebo effect. I don't know, but for 3-4 months it's crazy, and then they would be ready to go. So, oh wow, we are learning a lot.
Some say the power is still there, some say it's effective, some say it's not effective, but we don't know how true this is because we never see a single source. Okay, let me
try it.
See if I'm going. Although sometimes you see some tourists say they will take it, but when we get here, you know that the water is dirty. That will discourage them.
Yeah.
So that's the way. They after giving them the water, they will now move them to the point of no return.
But this well was dug by Africans.
Chiefs,
The chiefs.
Yeah. Even in Benin.
They also have
the Tree of Forgetfulness. Okay, so as they set off on the long walk to the ships, the slaves would be made to walk around a particular tree, which became known as the Tree of Forgetfulness. The idea was that they would then forget their identity, their culture, their history, and become a blank canvas for their slave masters. So they could start everything from zero again. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Their own is a tree. Like this. We call it tree of memory loss. The women will go around the tree 7 times, the men 9 times, and we are told that they will lose their
memory. Wow. This is the point of no return that I was telling you guys about. By the time the slaves get here, this is where they board the ships that take them all the way to Europe and all those other countries where they are being sold.
The monument that used to be here is this 2 straight pole here. This
ones,
there used to be an object on top there.
Okay.
That the object symbolize human being, and there's a chain that connects them. We call it arc.
Honestly, the place is beautiful. Look how beautiful this place is. So nice.
The faction.
Arc of the faction.
So when they move, then they'll pass under the arc of the faction. This is bottom of the slave ship.
Yeah.
One slave head here. The next one that we follow
is on the head, the leg. Yeah, the leg head. Yeah.
The reason that they don't want the means of communication within them.
Oh, wow.
Another deck. The state government came up with beautiful idea. I used to call it beautiful idea.
Okay.
That they should build another monument in conjunction with the arc of the faction, and that's why they have to control this tunnel. And when tourists comes here, you go in. Probably there's going to be some artwork, pictures
inside.
You go in as if you are going to Europe or America. Then you come back to Africa.
Oh, so that's how it goes.
Instead of no more point of no
return.
But this project that you are seeing here is getting more than.
It was made in a way that it was like a way of brainwashing them into believing that there's somebody else, that they were no longer Africans, now that they no longer belong to themselves, and they had to comply, and and they belong to the slave masters and stuff like that, and it's wow, it's I just try. You can just imagine and try and put yourself in their shoes, but in no way can we comprehend the pain that they have to go through, the whole process, that they have to go through before get into their masters and even life after that. So, wow, it's so painful.
Probably getting to 10 years now.
10 years.
Liminently. So we don't know where they're going to
Complete it. Wow. It's very troubling to listen to and see all of the things people have been through. And when you get to this place, it's not being preserved. This part of Nigeria's history is not being preserved as it should be. The memory loss well that the African chiefs built is also not being preserved. The monument at the point of no return is practically falling apart. It has been under construction for over 10 years. That's a very long time. I believe that history plays a very important role in the development of a country. If you don't...
Oh, Teo, you've just touched on a very important point. That's an extremely important point. We need to preserve our culture. Let me tell you, when you come to Europe, all the sites, all the historical sites are preserved, renovated. There are fans. There's a special budget, to try and bring those places back to life or to how they used to be before and preserve them and stuff like that. But I feel in Africa we don't really do so, and I think it's a pity because we have a painful history. We also have beautiful history. We also have a growing, and we need to preserve all those things because they're part of who we are, and we need to teach our future generations, and for them to visit these places so they can understand what their ancestors went through. So I feel it's an important point, and I hope the Nigerian government will come and preserve the place, or even I don't know, somebody, an investor who would like to do so. I don't know how, but it's important to preserve. The well is not, the building is not, the rooms are not, and it's the same thing in Senegal. Well, I feel it's a pity. It's really a pity.
Don't know where you're coming from, how do you know where you're going?
Exactly.
If you make mistakes and you don't learn from them, how do we know how to move forward into the future? How do we know how to build the future if we're not keeping records of all the things that have happened in the past? I believe that within a couple years, if these places are not being preserved properly, we would have no history. One of the reasons I'm doing this video is to shine a light on the story of the slave trade in Nigeria. Secondly is to showcase Badagry as one of the most important parts in Nigeria's slave history. I believe Badagry should be preserved not just for ourselves, but also for the people who are coming after us. They also need to know about where they're coming from. They also need to know their history. It was very mind-blowing going back in time to learn about how slave trade was started in Nigeria. That's all I have to share with you. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And I'll definitely see you guys on the next one.
Thank you so much, guys. I loved it, and you're so right. How do you expect to know where you're going if you don't know where you're coming from? So it's very important. Our history is our heritage, and it's the only way to move forward and build our countries and become stronger Africans and one Africa. And so 100%, I agree with you. We need to preserve these places. We need to educate our younger generations, and so we can. I think it's important for the African history, and in this case, the Nigerian heritage. So I hope you enjoyed my reaction. I learned a lot. I had no idea that this place existed in Nigeria, and I know there's some other slave trade areas in Africa that we don't really hear about, and I think it's a pity, and I think we need to learn. And I'm so thankful to you, Teo, for bringing this video to us and for educating me. So if you enjoyed my reaction, guys, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. And until next time, it's your girl Connie, and bye.